The Table Mountain Challenge was proudly brought to you by China Construction Bank. The 16th edition of the Table Mountain Challenge saw a new title sponsor elevate the famous event. But as the intrepid trail runners gathered on the Jan van Riebeeck sports field in Tamboerskloof, their thoughts were on the wet and windy weather forecast for the day. While the China Construction Bank is building for the future of the race, surviving this year's race would be the concern of most. Fortunately, trail runners are made of sterner stuff than the average human. Undaunted by the inclement weather, they excitedly made their final preparations for the 44 kilometers ahead, which included a sapping 3,000 meters of elevation gain. With a big day on the mountain beckoning, coffee was obviously essential. A quick warming caffeine kick before the adventure begins. Race briefing told of what lay ahead and which arrows to look out for. Then the trail runners were blessed with good fortune by a Chinese dragon dance. The fastest and most competitive runners in the field set out first, breaching the smoke and disappearing into the mist. To ease congestion on the single-track filled route, the start groups were set off in batches. This left the less competitive runners with time to take the all-important pre-race selfies and enjoy their own dragon dance. For China Construction Bank, meanwhile, the fortune they wish upon Cape Town extends beyond the Table Mountain Challenge.
China Construction Bank has been operating in South Africa for nearly 20 years. We opened up Cape Town office in 2015 to promote and expand our business interest in this region. As everybody knows, Cape Town is an extremely important economic hub. It is the oldest city in South Africa with rich cultural heritage and a unique biodiverse ecology. Take Mountain is at my back. It oversees this beautiful city. And when we heard of this trail run, we were very excited to attach our brand to this Asian and comparing landmark. We have seen the popularity of these funds, both from the numbers of competitors and the increasing media interest growing. And we would hope that we can sustain our contribution to this event.
Starting in Tamboerskloof, the route ascends Signal Hill before traversing the saddle separating Lion's Head from Table Mountain itself. Then, skirting the slopes overlooking Camps Bay and the Atlantic seaboard, it follows the pipe track due south. The thick, low-hanging mist may have hidden the spectacular views, but it ensured that every runner focused intently on the trail directly in front of them. It would be a day for noticing the mountain's more subtle floral treasures. Given the city of Cape Town's water crisis in 2018, the sight of waterfalls pouring off the mountain still fills every Cape Townian with joy, even if they had to ascend the mountain against a steady trickle of water down the Kasteelpoort climb. Though not the steepest route to the tabletop, Kasteelpoort is nonetheless a swift power hike for even the fastest of trail runners. Near the summit, it was blustery too, forcing everyone to remain bowed over to rebuff the wind's tugging tentacles. Despite a slip, the wind and rain hardly affected Kane Riley as he moved into the race lead.
My plan was to make a little bit of a move going up the first climb, Kasteelpoort, and then get a bit of a lead, but not burn too many matches before Constantia, and then feel good from Constantia and just try to keep my stuff together for the last few kilometers to the finish.
Behind Riley, the rest of the field was exercising a little more caution on the climb. The women's field was led near the Kasteelpoort summit by Landi Greyling. She was followed by Julika Paul, Julie Huckel and Emily Jock.
Table Mountain Challenge 2019, what a tough course. It starts with two seriously steep climbs. Then you basically have a nice easy section where you run along the pipe track, and then it's the climb up Kasteelpoort, which is, I don't think it's the hardest way up Table Mountain, but it's very nice, beautiful. Although today we couldn't see the views, but I really enjoy the cold weather, the misty, the rainy bits. It makes you feel alive. But yeah, it's a long, beautiful course, single track almost all the way. So yeah, thanks for a brilliant race, energy events. Really enjoyed my time out there.
Atop the mountain, the inclement conditions hid the usual spectacular views. The mountain's western peaks, the 12 Apostles, Grootkop and Judas Peak, were all obscured by the low-hanging cloud. There was no alternative for the trail runners but to focus on their immediate environments, to marvel at the sandstone massifs which the trail wound between, and to focus on their stride, breath and foot placements. As is typical for trail runners, the weather was not affecting the mood on the course. In fact, many appeared to be reveling in the opportunity to get out in the rain, soaking up the experience of exploring the mountain at its winter best, sharing the trails with like-minded adventurers for whom the slightly uncomfortable conditions just add to the fun.
Cheers, and yeah, good so far. It's a little windy, a little bit wet, but it's good. I raced this route a little bit easier than the other way around. Oh, don't lie. I'm feeling like I'm his brother. He's beating me up.
It was not just the mountain men and women enjoying the wet weather. A pack of trail dogs were equally enthused and lifted any flagging spirits at the mountaintop checkpoint. After 6 kilometers atop the mountain, the route dropped down Llandudno Ravine. The wet conditions made the already exceptionally steep and technical trail even trickier. But descending with caution, runners could look forward to the unspoiled indigenous forests of Orange Kloof ahead.
South Africa, being the strongest economy in African continent, there are lots of advantages in this country. For example, you have abundant natural resources, mineral resources, agricultural resources, maritime resources, as well as human resources. And you are the only country embraced by 2 oceans. And you have a well-advanced, well-developed infrastructure. So I believe that Chinese enterprises, their job is that they should make a full use of all these advantages and seizing the opportunity to further expand their investment in South Africa so as to help South Africa to become the engine room of whole African continent and to help South Africa to become a production base to drive the industrialization, the modernization of whole Africa.
At the front of the race, Kane Riley led past the halfway point at Constantia Neck. He was followed by Bernard Rukadza, the Zimbabwean former road star, who was struggling to put his pace to use in the slippery conditions against the mountain goat-esque Riley. Christian Greyling was in third as they raced into the second half of the route and headed onto the faster trails on the mountain's eastern slopes. Behind Greyling, Matt Burke was holding on to 4th place, but that position was under threat from the chasers who were rapidly closing in. Matthias Granet, Matthew Kane and Bernd Kriechmeier were all looking strong and enjoying their pursuit of Burke. The leading trio may have been out of sight, but the minor places were still going to be fiercely contested. In the women's race, passing the halfway mark, Landi Greyling still held the lead. The route, though largely runnable at high speed, was technical in places between Constantia Neck and the next checkpoint at the King's Blockhouse. Emily Jock, who finished the race in 4th place, put on an exhibition of skillful trail running. Staying light on her feet and taking sure-footed steps, she skipped through the challenging conditions. The attrition of small descents followed by short, sharp climbs started to take its toll on the field. After the adventure of the mountain, these trails on the urban fringe provide a different challenge. But that challenge is part of the appeal, which keeps attracting new participants to the sport.
Any event in Cape Town and South Africa for us is very, very important. We love investors. We love investments in our city in particular. I always have made the point of view that Cape Town is different from many other cities like Johannesburg, Tshwane and so on, with all the diamond mines and gold mines, etc. We don't have any of those. So we need to be innovative in our approach to attract investments to Cape Town, and this is one of them. I'm very pleased with what the Construction Bank have done with their achievements, their involvement even with a sporting kind of an initiative, and what they intend doing in the future. But also on other fronts, the Construction Bank, its social upliftment programs, social development initiatives, absolutely astonishing. And as Executive Mayor of the City of Cape Town, I support them in their endeavours.
After 44 tough kilometres, the Jan van Riebeeck sports fields beckon. At the finish line, a festival atmosphere awaited to welcome the exhausted trail runners home. The luck of the Dragon Dance had clearly held off the ill omens of the weather. One final Energy Events signature obstacle remained, the infamous Jumping Castle Slide. Conquering that, the shorter distance runners ran home happy finishers. Kane Riley was the first full-distance campaigner to cross the finish line, taking the 2019 title in fine style. Landi Greyling ran home to win the women's race in nearly as dominant fashion. Her victory was made sweeter by the fact that she had only recently returned to full-time trail running after the birth of her son. Behind the champions, each finisher was cheered to the finish a hero by the dignitaries from the China Construction Bank and the City of Cape Town. For most trail runners, one loop of the grueling route would suffice, but David Greer is no ordinary runner. He ran the China Construction Bank Table Mountain Challenge route 7 times in 7 consecutive days, raising funds for Operation Smile to perform 16 life-changing operations in the process.
The mountain is just that magical story every day. It was just special. You know, you're on such a high after you've done something like this. And, you know, as a South African, as I stand here, I'm so positive about this country and I want to make this country rock. So that's what it's about for me, is just giving the youth energy, giving the youth hope, giving the youth something to dream to. So these events, I think, help in that aspect.
Races like the China Construction Bank Table Mountain Challenge give trail runners a goal to work towards, a challenging but achievable target. At the sharp end of the field, the challenge was racing for victory, which Kane Riley claimed by 24 minutes and 26 seconds over Bernard Rukadza. Christian Greyling was third. In the women's race, Landi Greyling's time of 5 hours, 49 minutes and 59 seconds was good enough for victory over Julika Paul by 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Julie Huckle was third. The Table Mountain Challenge was proudly brought to you by China Construction Bank.